nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to SA Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry. Joining me tonight is Rafa. Royce unfortunately had to be a late scratch. Didn't get the call from the bullpen as of yet here. So, Rafa, how are you doing? I know it's been a couple of minutes since we've got together and put anything on. So, how are you doing?
Recovering from the 3-week highway to hell tour that I had for work, taking me to the Valley and then to West Texas and then Austin, and then I had a little mini trip to Victoria, and then had 3 events today. So, and then I got one coming up soon to go to Lubbock.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So
I heard it might snow up there, so break out the Eskimo jacket.
It's just been crazy. I started a new job. Royce is starting a new job. You know, AJ's got his club practice, so that kind of limits me. Max has got his practices with Royce, and then you've been out on the road, so it has been a challenge. But with SAFC, we got a big game coming up on Saturday, so we wanted to kind of touch base on that real quick. But this afternoon, we got some news here with information on the TAPS 2022 through 2024 alignment. And I'll kind of go over, set the table here real quick, and you can kind of say what it means or what it doesn't mean for that here. So looking in for boys winter soccer in what is this, Division 1. It looks like it's Houston and San Antonio grouped together on the boys side here. For that here with Antonian College Prep and Central Catholic, and then through schools in Houston and Tomball. The interesting one is Cathedral High School in El Paso as an independent for there here. And then if you go to Division 2 boys, you got St. Mary's, San Antonio Christian, St. Anthony's Catholic, and then schools and TMI in the San Antonio area, grouped with teams from the Valley. And then in Division 3, Division 4, you got 10 teams: Geneva, Holy Cross, and John Paul II in Shirts, Our Lady of the Hills in Kerrville, and then the Atonement Academy and the Christian School at Castle Hill. So looking at the boys, anything stand out with the new alignment for the next 2 years, 3 years on this?
It looks like Central Catholic might have gotten a couple little heavyweights from the Houston area. I know they got eliminated in that, I think it was third round game. So hopefully they'll be able to bounce back and maybe start a new three-peat. I think supposedly I think what's his name? Gallegos' younger brother, I think, might be on that team. So
is he?
I think I'm not to confirm. If there's someone that can confirm that, let us know. So maybe he'll have that same magic and get the three or the four or the four-peat, get the state championships. But like I said, they'll be in contention. Same thing with Antonian. They made the playoffs last year. Hopefully they can get into just some deeper rounds. But then you got those teams from Dallas. I mean,
over the top, yeah.
I don't think Bishop Lynch. Yeah, those are pretty much going to beat up on each other, and there are some teams that actually dropped down. I noticed, I think the team that eliminated Central Catholic, that Beaumont team, moved down to Division 2. So
Any thoughts on having all six? Basically, everybody in the district makes the playoffs. Any thoughts on that? So,
that kind of waters it down a bit. I know there's some districts like in football that they're in 4-team districts. Hey, you get. I think there were some 0-10 teams that made
right,
the playoffs.
you saw that.
So who's to say if you don't have a no something team and then they get on a roll and win the whole thing? So I guess because logistically, I guess they didn't have enough teams for that Division One. I mean, Cathedral may be coming. I guess they get an automatic bid, depending maybe on the record. And I guess they do. I guess some teams will have some buys if they're doing it maybe like from a 14 team or a 16 team bracket. So there'll be some possible buys there. So to get that.
How do you think the schedule would set up for these here? Obviously for the league play, they'd play, the 6 schools, but you think they're going to be playing home and away, or just go over to Houston as an example and play them back to back on a Saturday, Sunday, or you think it would be that Tuesday, Saturday, where the kids will be missing school?
Probably be the Tuesday, Friday, Saturday type of deal, the home and away. If you're looking for the Dallas area, it's not too much of a drive for them, but for District 2, it's going to be a drive. And then, and then also you added, they do start the season a little bit earlier. I think they start, starting next week,
Right.
But they're playing pretty soon. So they'll play a couple already their district games, prior to even playing some of the UIL competition teams. Normally we'll have like a Central Catholic versus Lee. You have Antonian versus Churchill, games like that. We won't see those games probably till January. And usually, I think what those teams do is use those games as tune-up games prior to their playoffs.
Yeah. Looking at the girls' side here, I'm going to be very similar for that here. On the girls' side here, you got Antonian and Incarnate Word. San Antonio, there's one in Houston as well. So that would be kind of interesting when they play each other, if they've got the same colors for that, which I would assume for that here. But they've got 7 in theirs and 7 up in the Dallas area. So they have a 14-team playoff here, it looks like here. Looking at District 4, Coach Cano, St. Mary Hall is in District 4 with San Antonio Christian, St. Anthony's Catholic, and then TMI, and then a school in Laredo and a school in Victoria for Division 2 girls. And then Division 3, you got Geneva, Holy Cross of San Antonio,
JP2 from Shirts,
and John Paul the second of Shirts, Our Lady of the Hills, Kerrville, and then the Atonement Academy,
which I think they may have moved up from playing fall soccer to now winter soccer. So like I said, this is a realignment for starting next year, for next fall, next starting school year. So, the current right now, I know talking to Coach Cano said that the district play is going to be a lot different next year than what it is this year.
So should be interesting. I don't know. Today I had the windows open all day, so you can tell that fall is in the air. End of October, we finally hit fall, where it was nice to have the windows open. Northside's came out with their soccer schedule. Looks like it's going to kick off right after the New Year's on the 3rd for that here. I think you mentioned Northeast also has their schedule out.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, Northeast hasn't still have it out, but Northside does. So over probably the next couple of weeks, up through Thanksgiving, we'll start to get a little bit more swing into the high school part of the season here.
Should be interesting. Should be interesting this year. Who's gonna contend, and also we also have a realignment too. It's coming up in February, so they may be switching around. Some teams switching around like what they did here with TAPS and then a couple new schools popping up. So we'll see how those take effect as far as how things go in the future.
So moving to SAFC, want to kind of touch on them briefly here. It's been unfortunate. It's been 3 matches since we've talked about it here. They drew at home 1-1 to Tulsa. They lost 4-2 to New Mexico United on the road in a card fest, and they drew 0-0 to the Bold last Saturday here. So, any thoughts on any of the 3 games? Like I said here, the form, it's where they're getting healthier, which I think is the key. And you've seen PC come back, you've seen Patino come back, Gleedles came back, but he's on the bench with PC there. With PC for that here. So, any thoughts on kind of the form? Anything that stick out to you the last?
I just don't. Those home games, those should have been 3-point games. We just lack of something was missing. Even though we're getting healthier, which is a good thing, but this is a time right now that you want to get hot and get on a streak. I know that New Mexico game was the USO should really really look into that.
We can replay that one.
Yeah, that one was. We'll exclude that. Well, that one was put an asterisk on that because they need to reevaluate these officials because that game was a mess. But as far as the 2 home game, but that's something you did talk about. Maybe that was gonna be a loss for us, but our home game should be 3 points, and we should be we'd be a lot higher than we are at right now. And then I think we should have already have clinched the 2nd spot had we beaten Tulsa and also.
Well, if we had beat the Bold last week, we would have clinched.
Mm-hmm.
We would have clinched Actually, we wouldn't have clinched because we'd have 2 more points. So if we'd have lost to Colorado Springs, they had it. So if we'd won both of them, Tulsa doesn't frustrate me because I think Tulsa they're a playoff team. They're going to be finishing 4th. They're going to be playing the Rowdies in their first playoff match. The Bold one kind of bothered me a little bit more, but I also think that the Bold came out with a lot stronger lineup. With Panico coming back, that was his first game back. Fabian Garcia, number 18, had came back. Sonny Guadarrama, came back, and I know he's a little bit long in the tooth, but he's still a quality player. So I think I don't think SAFC took them lightly. I just think for the Bold, that was their last stand, and I think what made it kind of frustrating to me is at the end of the first half, they unfortunately lost 2 of their better defenders, and Reese and Taylor, and hopefully speedy recovery to them for that here. To me, it goes. I think that the shot that's on everybody's mind is PCs that had basically an open net. Now Panico was moving over, but he just he leaned all the way back and kicked the ball out of the stadium. Wasn't even just.
He was like
It's
Serginho.
frustrating to even talk about.
That reminded me of the Serginho shot against from Barcelona.
It's one of those, and it just
those
kind of
happen.
one play, but and especially in the playoffs, that play either advances you or you're sitting at home. We're at that part, especially right now. It's a playoff game. I know we're in. But if San Antonio wants to have a home game, they've got to win. They've got to tie or they've got to get a result against Colorado Springs. And I was looking at the USL, pick 'em there. It seems kind of split. One guy has the Switchbacks favored, the other, USL show picks San Antonio, and everybody else picks draws. So it's To me, like I said here, it's for San Antonio. It all comes down to can they finish.
Yeah.
And the defense, I think you've seen in these games. I take New Mexico out of it because there was that red card and the game shifted on the red card because SAFC was up before the red card, and afterwards they allowed 3 goals and it was on the road and it just you couldn't breathe without picking up a yellow card. So that one I don't have a huge issue with, but the bold one, I'm not gonna lie to you, it left a sour taste.
No, that game was, the Bull needed a win to kind of to still kind of stay alive, because that result with the RGV received, and I think the Bull can still get in if they beat Charlotte, and then they need help. I think New Mexico losing and RGV losing, they can sneak into that last spot. So that's why that's why there was a little more urgency, on that game. Had they already been eliminated, maybe the game would have been different.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could have had our way, but still, we just gave up too many chances, and then we didn't play smart soccer. That's the thing we haven't been playing the last few weeks. We haven't been smart, especially the spacing that we have. We have a lot of guys wide open to receive the ball that can do some things, and they're just not getting the ball. For what reason? I think
you and I joke about it. The Gleedle PC spot. It's like they don't know that position's there. They could be wide open, nobody around them for 10, 15 yards, and they'll cross it back into where traffic is, as opposed to taking the easy pass out, letting them advance up even further. And I know we kind of sit on the end line, so we see how open they are because it's right in front of us. And it's one of the, if you're PC or Gleedle, it has to be the biggest frustration, to where you're busting your ass up and down the pitch. You're in a position to where you should be able to get the ball to be able to cross it in, because that's what they're doing, is they're trying to get it in to cross it. And nothing against Maloney or Epps on the other side, but it just for whatever reason and you see the same frustration whether it's Gleedle or PC out there, that I don't know if it's a coaching, it has to be a coaching thing. It has to be. Just I find it hard to believe where when you've got 2 high quality players and PC's the captain of the team, but yet they don't go in deep into that side of the box unless they have to.
See, with them playing the ball of them, they're playmakers. If you're gonna have Dylan up top, that's what or Patino up top, that's what you want. They're gonna send crosses into those guys ahead of it. Plus playing the balls out, they're skilled wise to kind of spread them out. They have that experience. We've been forcing, like I said, you mentioned, we're forcing balls so that there are really no plays there at all, to do things, and we lose those opportunities. So hopefully maybe they watch the video of these last few games and, hey, you know what? We need to feed the fall ball more on that side as well, balance it out, and it's going to lead to more goals. And I think every time that we did play the ball, that we did get chances of, we just didn't connect, but it just creates more opportunities for us. So hopefully they do watch the tape. They make that adjustment for Saturday, because they're going to need it, because, you have Hadji Barry coming in. Yeah. And that guy, I don't know if he's on the lead for goals or he's on top of goals, or he's
on the top of the league. He needs one more goal, I think, to set the USL record for goals in a season.
Yeah, so we don't want to let that happen to him, for him to celebrate here. So we need to kind of pack some goals in and spread it out, because, like I said, they have Colorado has a lot to win out of this game. We have a lot to lose. Especially not be able to host a playoff game.
Well, I think both. It's actually pretty simple. Both teams want to be able to host. Obviously San Antonio wants to be able to host. whether it be Orange County or San Diego. And Colorado Springs wants to be able to host. If you're talking about from Colorado Springs, they just opened up a new stadium downtown Colorado Springs, to be able to get either Orange County or San Diego, whoever doesn't get the home on the Pacific side.
Mm-hmm.
So both teams are in, but it comes down to getting that extra home match. And then the other thing is the schedule's been semi-released for that here. So the conference quarterfinals, which it will be this next week here on the November 5th through the 7th, it's already been announced that El Paso and whoever finishes fourth in the Pacific, whether it's the Galaxy 2, Oakland or Tacoma, will play on the 5th. And it's been announced that San Antonio or Colorado Springs will play on the 5th. And if you're a season ticket member, San Antonio has already sent a email out saying that the game would be at 8:00. The great thing is if you're a season ticket holder, that game is included in your season ticket, for here. So you're not having to pay any additional price for that here. So the good news is, hey, we don't have to pay for an extra ticket for the here, which I would, but we know Friday night. So, and the reason why I say that's an advantage is you're going to get an extra night of rest. You're going to be at home. You're going to get an extra night of rest because Phoenix, which would be the side that would be on, plays on Saturday, assuming that they either beat RGV, New Mexico, or Austin. Would have that. Now, if RGV, New Mexico, or Austin could upset them, then we would have another home match against one of those teams that if they pull the upset over Rising. So, but to me, be able to get that extra day of rest. If we lose, it goes the other way, because on November 7th, Orange County or San Diego, whoever finishes second in the Pacific, will host either San Antonio or Colorado Springs on the 7th. So, not saying it makes a huge difference, but if you're having to travel, and then if you do win, and then you got to travel again, you're losing a couple extra days of practice and not so much film, because you can study film and stuff all over the place. But to me, like I said here, I just think from the revenue aspect, playing on Friday night, and it's not the perfect night. I think Saturday would have been a better bet, but that's the schedule that's been dealt out. So thoughts on, before we deep dive into Colorado Springs, are going to, if there is anything to really deep dive on them. I know we've played them 3 times already. Was it 2-0-1, I think, so far, where we've got 2 wins. The first match in San Antonio 3-0, the last, and then we won 1 in Colorado Springs and tied 1 in Colorado Springs, which was Patino's last match, I think, right? No, he had the
slap
across
the world. The slap across Colorado.
So, but thoughts on how the playoffs kind of set up, and
here's an interesting thought. I noticed on some weather reports that playoff week, it might be snowing in Colorado. So I'm guessing those California teams, they're like, you know what? Let's cheer for San Antonio, because at least we won't be playing in the snow at Colorado Springs for a playoff game. So I'm sure the Loyal and Orange County are going to be rooting for us, because we're not going to have that. I mean, that could be a factor if we go down and Loyal, and they're probably not going to like playing in inches of snow up in Colorado Springs. So, I mean, the way they have the layout as far as the game, it does give us advantage as far as a little rest. And, who's to say, I think the one team that does give trouble to Phoenix is New Mexico. They've given them fits, and who's to say, they knock them off, and wouldn't it be great that they come back to our stadium and then we get a little revenge from last year's playoff game from that handball.
I'd rather not see New Mexico.
I just want to kick their butts, get some payback, But that's the this, and I think they have a better chance of knocking off Phoenix. I know Austin's played well, but who's to say with those injuries?
I don't think Austin makes it. I hate to say it with Austin. I do not think that they make it.
And then RGV.
So RGV is playing pretty good ball.
Yeah.
And to me, you want to talk about a fun match. RGV San Antonio in the playoffs, something that's never happened before at Toyota Field. I think, I'm pretty sure a lot of the Stampede would travel up, and that would be a fun match. I won't lie to you. It'd be a lot of fun banter going back and forth. But like I said here, the odds of somebody upsetting Rising and Phoenix, not saying it can't be done, but it's not very likely. So I do have one question here, and I was hoping Royce was going to be on, but I'll ask you as well. Up top, Nathan's the starter, but do you put in Patino and put him up at the very top and drop Nathan back? Because how they ran their see if I can find that email here. Hold on 1 minute here. So if you were to hold on 1 second here.
Well, that last one that we got, we played a 4-4-2 up there. The first one we got in Colorado ever.
Let's see if I can.
Because we had Nathan on top.
So instead of having Nathan, so to me, I would switch Nathan over here and then put Patino up top. So then you would have, how they have it set up here. You would have Patino up top, Nathan and Epps, slightly behind, Abu and Jose. To me, I wish they would do a diamond here almost.
More likely they do.
For it here, and then Maloney and PC or Gleedle, however that you fit, and then of course the trees in the back forward, Kamiri, Tainer, and then Cardoni. To me though, I wonder if you get a little bit more. And it's not saying that Dylan hasn't done a great job, because he has, but I'm wondering if you drop Nathan back a little bit, put Patino up top, if that makes us just a tad bit more explosive. On there, or do you think they actually have them lined up wrong here, where Nathan's actually back here and Dylan's up there?
See, Dylan needs to be up top. Because you want your guy to get up in the air and head the ball in from crosses.
And this is from SAFC as far as how they through there. So that
eventually, I think, like I said, I think Dylan's gonna come off the bench. They're gonna start Patino. Because you got to remember, Patino always gets under the skin of the defense, especially Colorado's defense.
Well, had the hat trick the first game.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of fitting.
Except for the little slap, but
yeah, this match June 5th in Colorado Springs, that wasn't a fun match, unfortunately.
But I think you do put Nathan on the wing. You put Patino up top, and like I said, you save Dylan. Coming in like the 70th minute. Unless if you want to go more defensive, if you get a lead, you switch to a 4-4-2. But that's how they killed us in that first game. First game in Colorado, they were exploding. But if you kind of look back, if you look at our defense we had, it was a slow defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of opened our eyes about what we needed to do, and look at the players that we have now. That with Tainer and Ford, well, now we have some speed on the outside that can handle Hadji Barry, and then also with Kamiri. So we have the three guys that can take care of him. And then you have to add PC and then Maloney. And, well, that's another thing. Hopefully Maloney is recovered back, because I know he kind of pulled a little lame. But like I said, we have Gleedle. Gleedle can slide in there. So as long as we have some speed on the outside, because that's the one thing that we were lacking. I think Doyle was getting killed in that first game.
Yeah.
Because of the speed. Well, that's not going to be a problem with Tainer and Ford on the outside the fence.
No, in the match that we won in Colorado Springs, Nathan got on the board with an assist from Emil Cuello in the 7th minute. Hadji Barry equaled in the 14th. And then SAFC got 2 penalty kicks in the first half, the 24th minute and the 43rd minute. And then, Doyle subbed off for Doyle came in for Kamiri and Dylan came in for PC, right? Almost right at half there. And then they got a goal. I want to say it was around the 75th minute. Yeah, 75th minute. Along those lines here. So
that was a game we missed a bunch of chances that we could have been up, 5-1?
Yeah, it's we were 6 of 15. They were 10 of 20. Cardoni had 8 saves that match. So it was an entertaining 3-2 match. I know if you probably talked to Colorado Springs, they're a little sore about the penalties. I think at the time, we all said that they were valid for that here, but and that's also in the back they had Lima, Schloberg, Kamiri, and Gleedle, for that here with PC and Lindley. So we're definitely working with a totally different lineup than what we did at that point. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how it sets up here. Final thoughts. I know it's just you and me here. No reason to drag it out. Because it is Friday night here. But any final thoughts you got either on the match or high school coming up?
Well, as far as the match, hopefully we get a good turnout. The guys need it. We need to pack the stands and so we can get that win. We can't be messing around with ties. We got to get 3 points, at least get some momentum going into the first round of the playoffs. And this is going to be a very contested game, especially the new look defense that we do have. So I have a feeling that Hadji Barry is going to get shut down a bit from forward.
I think he gets it. I think this is going to be a high. This is either going to be like a 0-0 or a 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think this is going to be a more open game, though. I think both teams, because my biggest fear is if San Antonio tries to sit back,
and we can't do that. We need to be the aggressor. We need
to do. My biggest fear is that
complacent to get the tie.
Hey, we just need a tie. Let's that's. And it happens sometimes. Sometimes teams play to a result and don't play for the win. And that's my biggest fear. And I don't think Coach Marcina will do that, just because I do think that he does want to get the win. But there has been times this year where he's kind of gone into that shell a little bit earlier than I would like. I'll just say, and has it cost us? Possibly, but I think this is going to be kind of a 2-3 game. I think both Colorado Springs can score, and I think for San Antonio they can't set back. Like you mentioned, they've got to get that sour taste out of their mouth of not being able to score last 2 out of 3 matches. And I know Jonathan Check. I was joking with him, with his articles with the Striker Texas is. You can basically copy from week 1 to week 1 just because, it's not defensively that San Antonio is struggling. It's being able to score offensively.
Yeah.
And I think if San Antonio puts the ball on frame and in the back of the net, they typically win. When they don't, we know they either walk away with a tie or a loss. It's that simple.
Yeah, they have to be, like I said, the aggressor. We gotta put the ball in first. But we also got to play smart, not allow him to touch the ball. And that's something that I don't really seen. Have we taken out their best player from receiving balls and so that? And that's I think a strategy they need to start using. Start marking them, because if we can frustrate them the whole night, who's to say he gets and so what Patino did like that for that second game, but marking them, keeping them, from even taking shots, it will frustrate that team, because they did also lose a player, right? Recently,
yeah, they had one of their top.
It's this guy.
Yeah, top assist guy here. Hold on, pull it up here. I can tell you here.
Because he went to an LAFC.
Yeah. Is he still on there? Yeah. Miche Neglina. He had 8 goals, 8 assists in 20 matches. So, but they've still got, they've got Hadji Barry. They've still got weapons. Hadji Barry, Beckford, so, just because he's not there. And I know a lot of people have said they've kind of took a step back. They haven't. The other thing that they're going to be missing is Torrey, because he got, and in my opinion, a stupid second yellow. But in the last match against the Switchbacks, he picked up a red card, or not against the against Real Monarchs.
Mm-hmm.
He picked up his second yellow because they tied it, pretty much at the death at 90+5. He got an excessive celebration for his second yellow at 90+5. So one of their key subs will be missing. But yeah, they typically go with Tristan Hodge, up top, Hadji Barry with Thomas Mang, and then Zach Zondi. And then on the wings, Beckford and Sebastian Anderson. You're looking at how they did it here. So they run 3 in the back like we do. But yeah, it's to me, they're a quality team. They have a great coach in Brendan Burke for that here. But, we got to hope that Matt stands on his head, because Hadji Barry will get his shots. The back 3 hold up, and but in the 3 matches that San Antonio's played, the Switchbacks, I thought they've been the better of all, in all 3 of them. For that here, they just, in one of the, the match they tied, they just couldn't convert.
And then also, and now that we also have a better defense too with Ford and Tainer, so that could kind of tip. I think those 3 games, pretty much, I think what led to signing those 2 players. I think we realized that our defense was too slow, and we needed speed at the back 3, and it's paid dividends because they've played well. This is our offense has just been struggling, trying to catch up, and that's what, like I said, the offense has to. They got to shine. They got to have to step up and shine on Saturday if we're going to win this game.
Yeah, and like I said here, we'll definitely put together something next week here. I'm not sure of the schedules. I'm not sure if you're out or not, but for the playoffs, we will definitely touch base and be on weekly, even if we have to stay up late at night to be able to do that here for that here. But my final thought, like I said here, Halloween, go out, have some fun with the kids, be safe. Like I said here, just enjoy it with family. And like I said here, if you can go out and support, SAFC tomorrow night, please do. What's dollar beers, fireworks, last game of the year. Friday night, like I said here, go out and support, SAFC in the playoffs. And then Saturday night, UTEP and UTSA, and see if UTSA can continue the undefeated season here. But definitely was a pleasure. Thank you for stopping in, Rafa. I know this was kind of last minute. I know you've been on the road quite a bit. Royce has been super busy with his new job. I've been super busy with, kind of learning my new roles and adjusting to, schedules at home and working later than what I used to. So I do appreciate everybody's patience. We'll get this worked out, and hope everybody has a great day. And what's life without goals? We're out.